Let's talk about why models are making less money today than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. As I've mentioned before, if you're looking to start modeling in 2024, the first thing you have to know is that you more than likely have an outdated understanding of the modeling industry. The thing you need to understand about modeling is that the sole purpose of your role as a model is to sell a product. The photo shoots or video shoots are all simply marketing to sell something on behalf of someone, which means that what influences your career as a model is the advertising world. So while we're talking about what's changed about the modeling world over the years, what we're really talking about is how advertising has changed and how your industry has simply been affected by it. Now, in the modeling world, there's this terminology that you'll often hear about called usage. What is the usage? Is the common question your agent will likely ask a prospective client when they're inquiring for models. So what is usage? Usage simply implies the literal placement that photos and videos will be going on to advertise the new product for the brand and for how long. Examples are print ads like magazines or brochures, billboard, email, newsletters, website, social media, TV, and film. Each placement the media goes on to is an additional check in your pocket. So understanding usage means you also understand that usage has evolved over the years as technology has evolved. And this is the main reason why models get paid less today. In the 80s and 90s, when you think of supermodels like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, Cindy Crawford, and Christy Turlington, the reason they got paid more during their era was because the medium to advertise wasn't as broad as it is today. See, back in those days, the main placements were magazines, billboards, and TV. And there were only a handful of popular magazines, billboards, and TV placements available for advertisement. Remember, the internet did not exist in those days. More limited advertising space meant limited supply. Limited supply meant higher demand. Higher demand means higher costs to advertise, which meant that brands had to have big budgets in order to put out an ad to promote their new products. And that meant that agencies were able to ask for big rates for models. And if you watch my podcast interview with Omar Alberto, who is a legendary men's agent from that era, you will hear him talk about the difference in pay compared to today's models. That's just one part though. When the emergence of social media came, and this is after the internet already had like a devastating effect, that's when you started to really see a shift in model pay. Why? Because it opened up the world like never before. With the opening up of the world, that meant that there was an oversaturation of everything. Before, advertisers were limited to just maybe 3 or 4 placements, but now those same placements no longer guarantee the same return for advertisers as they've shifted to social media, because ultimately advertisers go to where people are highly trafficking. And today it's no longer magazines and TV, it's email, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Snapchat, YouTube, Google, and streaming services. With the broader options for placements, that means that it costs less for advertisers to advertise, which means less money goes into ads and subsequently models get paid less. Another thing that makes today's advertising world a lot different is the consistent need to produce content. See, back in the day, you didn't have to be producing content to post on social media on a daily basis to stay relevant and to stay engaged with your audience. You would do shoots every now and then, but it wasn't as frequent as it is today. So back then, a brand would maybe do 4 major ad campaigns throughout the year, but today brands are forced to really have to be creating content on a regular basis, which means that these brands are not going to be paying the same rate for all of these little shoots they have to do in between, because it costs them a lot of money. So now all of the money that was going to these 4 big campaigns that a brand would do throughout their year is getting distributed on a monthly basis because of the need for content on social media, where everyone is competing for your attention. And also, because of social media, what you now have that's different from back in the day is a surplus of available models and agencies. Because agents can now scout from the comfort of their own home by going on Instagram or TikTok, there are so many models that are easily discoverable and developed, which means, again, this is basic economics. When the supply is greater than the demand, what happens? The prices drop. Because the supply of models in the present day is greater than it was in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, subsequently, the value and the rates drop. And that's just understanding it from the point of view of advertising. But the other major reason why models get paid less today is because agents aren't as good as they used to be. With the emergence of the internet and social media, agents today have gotten pretty lazy. Back then, agents were only as good as the relationships they had with their clients. They only had phones, and so they would have to resort to phone calls calls, or they actually had to meet clients in person and establish an in-person relationship, which made the connections deeper. Today, agents communicate via emails and links and are not as engaged compared to the past. So the relationships they're building today with clients are more superficial. And another reason why models are not making as much money as they used to is because with the vast amount of people wanting to do modeling and not having a clue about how to run a business, so many models are undercutting the industry and the rate that models should get paid for jobs. And what do I mean by this? The whole entire idea of being signed to an agency is that you're going to be getting higher paid jobs with highly coveted brands because an agency is supposed to have more prestige, right? But because a lot of people are so desperate to be models, they're offering their services for free or for very little rates compared to signed models. And if you're a brand, who are you going to decide to hire? The one that's charging you nothing or the one that's charging you a premium? And when this happens, it cheapens the value of models, because why am I going to pay you $2,500 for your day rate when the same model is charging me $750? So there are a lot of models who have shot themselves in the foot getting paid less than they used to be because they don't know how to price themselves. They don't know their own value. Okay, so now you know why models don't make as much money as they used to, but the question is, what can you do to make more money and not fall in this same pattern? Well, you guys, this is why I released my model masterclass, to teach models how to become working models. Look, change isn't a bad thing, and there are models who are making a lot of money because they've been able to widen the revenue sources of where models get paid. But if you're expecting to enter into the modeling world with an idea of what modeling was 30 years ago, you're going to go nowhere and accomplish nothing. You need to learn the business of modeling, which is what I teach in my class. So enroll in my model masterclass today and check out my podcast show where I interview models and talk about their experience in the business, as well as other resources I offer models and actors by clicking the link in my bio now. And be sure to follow me for more modeling business tips and DM me your images on Instagram if you'd like me to review them.